Hey everybody, Phil Graham here, creator of the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan. I'm excited today. I have Brian McArthur. He has the Medicare Execution Process. Now, those of you that know me know that I'm all about process. The Beneficiary Liquidity Plan process was all designed to help high-end financial advisors like yourself support your high-end clients. Well, Brian's done the exact same thing, but instead of it being with the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan, he is enrolled, and I don't want to steal all of his thunder, more high-end clients into Medicare than anybody else in the United States. And he does that by working with high-end advisors just like yourself. So I wanted to invite Brian on today to share a little bit about how it benefits the advisor, how it benefits the client, and then what his process looks like. So Brian, thank you for jumping on today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Phil. So in a nutshell, I have no way to document whether that's true, but I do believe that I enroll more high net worth clients into Medicare every year than anybody else in the country. That might sound high sounding, but in the Medicare business, you really earn just as much at the insurance agent level with a homeless person under a bridge as somebody with $100 million. And I've enrolled both ends of that spectrum and everybody in between. But, so it doesn't affect my revenue, but to the extent that higher net worth people have unique needs, and you and I know they do, Phil, I don't think anybody else is guiding that client through the Medicare education process to an actual result under the watchful eye of the advisor more than me.
And they communicate differently too, Brian. Like that's a big difference, that they don't want to talk to the person at the Walmart kiosk. They expect a little bit higher end education and service, no matter what part of the insurance business they're working on.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you the interesting choice of words, because the word expect, it's probably more hope. I mean, the fact is, when I kind of embarked on this journey, and I'm a retired or recovering annuity wholesaler, you could decide which, but, health insurance planning is part of every financial planning software, module. It's the most skipped over for reasons I empathize with. But as a result, it's the one part of the financial planning process with no animosity, Phil. Clients are not stabbing voodoo dolls of their financial advisors saying this son of a gun's not talking to me about Medicare, but it's the one part of the financial planning process when the client's looking away from you for advice, and how nice might it be to get them looking back towards you. Their expectations are actually pretty low that you'll demonstrate leadership on this, but the appreciation is high. So it's a well-timed opportunity for the client, for the advisor to engage the client at the height of their confusion when they're not expected to demonstrate leadership, but they do. And it's a very, very positive experience that I work hard to make sure that reflects positively on the financial advisor and their overall planning process through the whole way.
Because you had told me a story, talking about people turn age 65 and different things, and the amount of mail that they start getting about Medicare that becomes very confusing and almost overwhelming just by their sheer birth date coming up.
In order to not feel like, salespeople, there always needs to be a limited resource elsewhere in the process other than Brian wanting to get paid or Phil wanting to get paid or the advisors watching this wanting to get paid. And none of us really like to operate that way anyway. The beauty of Medicare is it's a deadline driven event. Everybody's eligible at 65. Now, not everybody does a full enrollment at 65, but that's when things start. And at age 64, the whole Medicare insurance industry knows who the 64-year-olds are in the whole country. It's a very inexpensive lead list to get. And clients at age 64 get more mail than you can possibly imagine. I tell advisors, whatever you think a lot of mail is right now, triple it. It's insane. And it creates this great opportunity for the advisor. It's a timing thing to engage a client at 64, say, hey, it's Phil. Can I ask you a question I already know the answer to? So how much mail are you getting about Medicare these days? And then pause, because clients reply with laughter. That's how laughable the amount of mail is. And the advisor looks anticipatory and intuitive and on top of things. And it's a great look on the advisor. And then from there, I've just trained advisors to offer an introduction to me in a very low friction environment. And most people take the advisors up on that introduction. The clients trust the advisor with so much more than just this topic. It's nice to know that whoever's going to handle Medicare for your client has an accountability path back to the advisor. And
Right.
that's really what the Medicare execution process, it's really built for the advisor.
So when you engage with an advisor, you basically teach them your process, which is find who's turning 64, which the great part about that is it shouldn't be overwhelming that they just have this massive amount of people turning 64 every day, every month, whatever it may be. Just a little bit of communication gives them an opportunity to reach out in a positive manner. You kind of teach them what to say. If they're interested, there's an introduction to you, and then you take it from there all along the way. And this was interesting when you were telling me your process. You're proactively kind of talking up the advisor because of your expansive knowledge. You're picking up cues on other products and things that you can talk up the advisor, bring back to the advisor. Hey, your client said this, maybe an opportunity to reach out, because this stuff comes up in conversation. But your focus is having these high level educational conversation with clients so they can truly understand what best fits their Medicare situation. Because again, you and I were talking, there's nowhere for clients to really get educated that they know that it's the right information. The government is not educating clients on what you need to take Part B and this and that, or no, you need to be Medicare Advantage. What's the difference? What about my doctors? Like, you handle all that. You are constantly communicating with the advisor's office to keep them up to date. So that piece of the business gives the feel of being all incorporated with the advisor without the advisor having to do anything but do the introduction at age 64.
I go to great lengths to not create extra work for financial advisors. So coming back to one of your earlier points. So yeah, age 64 is, I always tell advisors, if you like anything I say, the action step, if you chose to take it, is you sort for just your 64-year-olds. Most advisors I find at any given moment have 3 to 6 people who are 64. It's not a gigantic list, Phil. Medicare is complicated. It's just complicated enough. I always know I'll have a job tomorrow, which is,
right.
Thank you, good government, right? But it's a very positive, high optic outcome. Medicare is better than anything you and I are on right now, and it's less expensive. And what I've observed in almost 900 enrollments now is that people are happy, they're attentive, really checking the box in a pretty major way. Medicare is good news. And I get this borderline magical moment only if the advisor asks me to, but I like them to know this is available, to chat with the client about what their next most worthwhile conversation with the advisor should be. What I have observed about 900 times is that there's 3 topics that are the easiest for me to introduce if asked. One is long-term care planning. If it's yet to be addressed by the time the client's enrolled in Medicare, it's like the perfect time to bring it up. 2 would be income planning. Hey, your next conversation with Phil is usually choosing an asset in your portfolio to pay for these Medicare premiums. It's a couple $100 a month. It's not your biggest bill in retirement, but it's going to be there forever. It's probably worth planning for. I know Phil has some ways to make sure that the income from that asset will never run out regardless of account value. Ask Phil about it. He knows more about it than me. If the advisor likes using annuities. Thirdly is 401k rollovers. I meet all the clients at 64. A lot of them don't enroll to 67. I'm not saying all the time, Phil, but I'll bet 20% of the time I gain knowledge of the exact retirement date, which will trigger the day one of when the 401k could be rolled over before the advisor. Now, I'm not saying advisors are asleep at the wheel and have no idea their 67-year-olds are contemplating retirement, but you can talk about executing that rollover, but you don't do it till they leave the company. They don't leave the company until Medicare is set up. So chronologically, sometimes I'm an earlier phone call, and I love being like a dog with a bone and coming back and saying, hey, Phil, so-and-so is retiring, September 30th. That rollover is in play October 1st. Most of the time the advisor says, hey, I knew that. And I say, I figured you did. Hey, is there any part of your planning process yet to be addressed you want me to gently introduce? A lot of times they say no. Other times they bring up long-term care. Even if the advisor doesn't ask me to do any of that, Phil, clients bring stuff up to me unsolicitedly. It's not because I'm so wonderful. It's because I'm an extension of the advisor's practice.
Right.
And whatever that client brings up, I try to satiate their curiosity just enough to guide them back to the advisor and prepare the advisor for what came up. And I take great pleasure in communicating that when it happens.
Yeah, and even for advisors, something like that happens once a year. That's like almost free money sometimes. And so we'll kind of wrap up and say, okay, the benefits to the advisor are you they get to kind of be the hero and have a really strong resource for Medicare needs, calling their clients on that 64th birthday. Um, Possible found money, found timing, conversations that you're able to have that maybe are coming up just in the process of Medicare and funding the Medicare. And then for the clients, they're getting an experience that is high level, getting their questions answered by an expert that has been through over 900 enrollments of other high net worth clients, understands the needs and what they are looking for, hope for, not expect, so what they hope for. So I think if someone's interested in you're looking for either a different outlet or an outlet at all for your Medicare, in this video we have a link to Brian's calendar. You can see his email on his Zoom there. We'll have his email in there as well. This has nothing to do with the beneficiary liquidity plan. You guys know I like to provide value and solutions when I see them. And Brian and I had a lot of synergies in how we're operating. So I wanted to at least give everybody exposure to what Brian's doing with the Medicare execution process, because I believe it could be a value to some of you watching this video. So Brian, thank you for jumping on here today. And for the advisors, click that link and schedule a call with Brian if you're interested. But
Thanks for having
everybody.
me. Thank you.